The primary task of the soldier is to perform in battle. Besides the obvious need for firearms and edged weapons, the soldier must also carry the basic equipment necessary to survive the journey to the battlefield. During the French and Indian War, North Carolina Provincials would be asked to fight in campaigns as far away as western New York. The enlistment of the North Carolina Provincial soldier was short, only 6 months to a year. Therefore, equipment issued to provincial soldiers would vary from year to year. The colony of North Carolina had a difficult time keeping its men supplied with firearms, let alone camp equipage. We will discuss the equipment ideally issued to an 18th century soldier. It is likely, at times, provincial soldiers would be expected to provide some of these items from home or simply do without. In front of you I have some of the equipment that's ideally carried by North Carolina provincial soldiers during the French and Indian War. At times they maybe did not receive all of this equipment, but ideally these are the kind of things that they would have available for them when they go on patrols and also when they go on campaigns as far as western Pennsylvania and western New York. The first thing I want to talk about is the coat that I'm wearing right now. This coat is a blue wool regimental coat with red facings. We know these coats were issued to North Carolina soldiers during the Braddock campaign in 1755, and they may have continued to wear these coats later on. A lot of the small clothes worn by North Carolina provincial soldiers are going to be clothes that they brought from home. So I'm wearing trousers, I have a linen shirt on. I'm not wearing a waistcoat right now because on campaign, oftentimes if it's hot, they might not wear a waistcoat, although most soldiers should have one in their possession. Most men would have a waistcoat, and it's basically a vest that you wear underneath your jacket, which I'm carrying one in my pack. I want to talk first about the firearms that are issued to North Carolina provincial soldiers. This musket here is a Dutch-made musket. We know that about 1,000 of these were issued to soldiers here in North Carolina. They may have received a few British guns as well as civilian guns may have been issued to North Carolina provincial soldiers as well. Along with these muskets, they also received 1,000 of these British Navy cutlasses. We think that on campaign they may have left these behind. They're a bit cumbersome to carry for long periods of time and would have been used primarily on the parade or in a garrison situation. A lot of times these swords are probably going to be turned in for a tomahawk like this right here, or a belt axe. It's a little more versatile in a campaign situation. It can be used for splitting wood as well as hammering in tent stakes. So these are your basic weapons. You're also carrying with you a cartridge box for your ammunition and possibly a powder horn for your gunpowder. On long campaigns, these are useful for keeping your powder dry. Basic weapons. The next thing I want to talk about is the clothing that you might bring with you. You remember, soldiers are going to be walking all the way from Fort Dobbs up to western Pennsylvania at times. And along the way, you know, it's going to be a lot like an 18th century backpacking trip. Right here is what your knapsack, one type of knapsack that could be used. This one here is covered with goat hide. The goat hide makes it water resistant. At times they may have also been carrying market wallets or linen bags, or also blanket rolls, kind of like this blanket right here. All the clothing can be wrapped up in that as well. I have 2 pairs of stockings, a fatigue hat, 2 pairs of shirts. I'm also bringing with me a waistcoat, which is a vest that I wear underneath my coat. I also have another pair of breeches and an extra pair of shoes. The extra shoes are very important. On a long march, shoes do wear out, and oftentimes we find instructions to carry extra shoes or also to carry extra leather for repairing shoes. Also in my knapsack, I'm going to bring with me any of my own personal items that I might want to have along the way. Here I have some playing cards, a wallet with some North Carolina money in it, a bag of tobacco, and a pipe. You don't want to carry too much stuff with you because you're already going to be carrying about 75 pounds of equipment just with your military equipment. Canteen for drinking water. And I already mentioned the blanket roll. That's your basic personal equipment. I also have a haversack here for carrying your food. This is a linen bag. Soldiers were supposed to get about a pound of meat, a pound of bread or flour per day, as well as peas, oats, or rice. They didn't always receive everything they were supposed to. And along the way they might forage for other supplies, such as, this is a sweet potato right here. I also have some hard bread. At times the flour is baked into a biscuit or a ship's biscuit. Later on they're going to call this hardtack. It's very hard and sometimes has to be soaked in water to eat, but they last for about 5 years. I also have a cup and a spoon. There's no issue mess kit, and so these are items that you're purchasing on your own. That's the basic equipment that you're going to need to survive. Now you're also going to have to carry some equipment for your other soldiers. And on this part of the blanket over here, I have a camp kettle. One of these is going to be issued to every 5 or 6 soldiers. They call that a mess in the 18th century. I also have a shovel here on the blanket, and you might have a shovel or an axe, also issued to a group of 5 or 6 soldiers. Folks, I hope this gave you a better idea of the kind of equipment carried by North Carolina provincial soldiers. Life on campaign meant extended periods of time, traveling on foot, exposed to elements, and carrying 75 to 100 pounds of equipment. Wearied from hard living, bad food, and inadequate equipment, it is not surprising that in the 18th century, disease would claim the life of many more soldiers than the battlefield.